MMA is more than just laying in the octagon and hugging each other to sleep. For real, we can prove it. Dustin Poirier, for instance, is a guy who spent most of his career chasing titles. We know that left him no time to focus on a single opponent, but there's at least one rival he's sad to be missing out on. And that's exactly what we're here to talk about today in this video.
And we talked about that high volume striking in boxing from Nate Diaz.
First up, Dustin Poirier admits it sucks. When you think of the word wild, Nick Diaz is the guy you start thinking about. He is not a gangster, as he does no crime, but the dude comes from a humble beginning, and his talent has made him the main event. Now Diaz is on his way out of UFC with his contract getting over. It casts doubt over whether he will ever fight again, let alone much less see Poirier across the cage. Poirier does admit that the fight had happened before Diaz saw his way out.
There's a big trouble here. Dustin Poirier with the finish. That is a big win.
I have always wanted to fight Nate, Poirier said during the UFC 280 media day. Next, Diaz wanted his bout with Poirier to be his retirement fight. Diaz, when asked about who he wants his final fight to be with, talked about how badly he wanted Dustin to be the guy he trades blows with. He called out Dana White to arrange the fight that the fans alike have wanted to see. Nate has traded blows with some of the best fighters in the industry, where he has had victories against the likes of Conor McGregor, Anthony Pettis, and Donald Cerrone.
That's it. He's got the shot. Nate Diaz. He tapped. He has done it. He tapped.
All while being one of the most real dudes out there. Moving on, here's what the fight would have looked like. The fans have missed out on something golden. A fight with Nate is bound to keep things interesting. The guy isn't shy of throwing objects at his opponents if he gets worked up. This could have been a nice showdown for several reasons. Both these guys can knock the wind out of their opponents with brutal and life-endangering strikes.
Let it go. Nicely done. Dustin Poirier, winner by submission.
Dustin can bloody up a wall with his sharp jabs, but at the same time, Diaz is not shy about getting bloodied during his fights. That doesn't stop him at all. Diaz has made the notorious Conor tap out to save his life. Poirier has a better defense against jiu-jitsu. That's why it would have been interesting to see how Diaz would have tried to submit him. Okay, so why did a Diaz v Poirier bout never take place? The pair were set to face each other at UFC 230 back in 2018. The fight got cancelled because Dustin the Diamond had to pull out due to an injury. Soon after, he expressed the will for the fight to be arranged again. However, the fighters went down their two separate routes in their MMA careers soon after. Both camps have been trying to make the bout happen, but it never seemed to work out. Dustin shared one of such events where he shared how he was offered to take up Nick as an opponent on a single day's notice but couldn't fight him.
A little frustrated trying to get a fight, and then life happens and you get busy. I have a lot of things that I'm involved.
This would have been huge, but they ran through problems with the Athletic Commission and other problems that didn't let them see each other in the ring. While we're at it, let's also talk a bit about the man himself. He's a super hard fighter regarded as the best in the sport. Trust us, you don't want to be in the octagon with this guy.
To the front. Now he's got it. Mounted, triangle, armbar at the same time. He's going to break his arm.
And the way the sport goes, some fighters are in it for the money, titles, or fame. But Dustin has never been the guy chasing these things. He has been on the scene for a long time, starting with the UFC in 2010. It's safe to say that he's had his share of deadly fights, but the one guy he has wanted to throw hands with was Nate Diaz, someone he sadly never got to share the ring with. Dustin has never been shy of fights, that's for sure. He suffered a lot against Conor when they faced each other for the first time, which gave way to a deadly rivalry between them. But he went on to fight against him twice and always came out on top. Rivalries fuel UFC. The sports would be much less spicy without them. How did the UFC world react to Nick's retirement? Nate has no plans of returning. Nate has been in the business for 15 years and will decline as a legend. Having spent that long in a sport where you fight guys for a living isn't going to get you the best farewell. Former champ Justin Gaethje has told him to never come back and focus on earning money elsewhere. The UFC legend has been backed into cash on a fight against the YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul. However, Justin Gaethje did say that Diaz should be his boss now.
Is back.
Nate, when asked about his next destination, didn't give away much, but he did mention Anderson Silva to be one of the opponents he'd be interested in seeing out a fight with. Nate has been in the business for too long now, and he may get his fair share elsewhere. UFC is notorious for not paying their fighters hefty sums for the amount of risk they take. This is one of the criticisms Dana takes a lot of heat for. Now, let's talk about everyone's favorite, Khabib Nurmagomedov.
I was working hard all my life. This is very big honor for me and very emotional day for me today.
The guy must be addressed or sidelined when the UFC discussion comes up. That's evident because not only is he undefeated, he has traded blows with the likes of Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor and has emerged victorious. UFC is a sport that cannot stay away from drama, and Khabib is still at the center of it despite retiring from the sport after taking out Justin Gaethje.
Undisputed lightweight champion of the world, Khabib!
What's more impressive is that he has 29 wins and 0 losses. This record is mind-blowing for many reasons. He is the longest reigning lightweight champion, holding the record from April 2018 to March 2021. Khabib is now a trainer in Islam Makhachev's team, the current champion. Let's look at how Khabib has been involved in his fair share of fights. His beef with the two favorite brothers of UFC, Nate and Nick Diaz, is often overlooked. Here's how the events unfolded. The Diaz brothers are at the heart of a lot of fans. These two are unafraid of going head-to-head with anyone, and this includes Khabib as well.
I think the UFC knows what they're doing, so I think they're ready for it anyway. And pardon my language.
According to Diaz, the first time things between him and Khabib got ugly was in the World Series, where Khabib was watching his brother. The beef started when these guys took a picture, and in Diaz's words, Khabib and his Russian friends started making fun of him. This led to him taking a dig at Khabib by slapping him on his face, and apparently, Khabib just stood there and took the slap. The fight didn't escalate further, but it did involve Nick throwing a drink in the champion's face. These two camps are certainly not fond of each other. However, Khabib has been in his fair share of fights outside the octagon. Khabib has always been at the center of brawls outside the octagon. The bout with the Diaz brothers was certainly not his last.
Don't touch each other, please.
The fight between Conor and Khabib was one of the most controversial ones, which attracted a lot of drama and unrest. The pair had been anything but civil leading into the fight, with Conor making fun of Khabib by shoving a whiskey at his face during the press conferences from taking digs at him. It was one of the ugliest showdowns, which didn't leave any fan of the sport disappointed. However, everything dissolved into absolute chaos shortly after Khabib defeated Conor McGregor when Khabib jumped the cage and attacked someone from Conor's team. Things only got messier when team members from Khabib's team dived into the octagon and started sprawling a recovering McGregor.
There's the count. Khabib Nurmagomedov has finished Conor McGregor tonight.
Following that, Khabib did explain why that happened. The fight between Conor and Khabib was controversial for many reasons. Khabib, who has expressed regret by explaining he shouldn't have let his anger get the best of him, tried to come clean with his argument. Khabib, in the post-fight press conference, explained that Conor had provoked him by hurling insults at him, his family, his religion, and his country. We get Khabib's side because Conor did attack his bus in the events leading to the fight that almost killed 2 people. This shows how controversial UFC as a sport is. That's a wrap for this video. Are you bummed about Poirier not getting to fight Nate too? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.